Take your marks. Get set. Go.
Oh, hi there. Rob from Got Game. Before I get running, I want to teach you guys a little bit more about athletics. Alright, today's lesson's all about the Olympics. How good are the Olympics? I hope you guys are enjoying watching them right now and seeing all of Australia's best athletes compete against all the other countries in the world. Did you know the Olympics has been in Australia twice already, and we're about to get our third Olympic Games in Brisbane, and that's going to be in 2032. Sydney had the Olympics in 2000, and before that we had the Melbourne Olympics in 1956. Alright, my sport of choice today is going to be track and field athletics. One of my favourite things and something that you boys and girls do at your athletics carnivals. And today we're going to be focusing on sprinting, the 100 metres. Alright, Australia's most successful Olympic sprinter of all time is someone called Betty Cuthbert. She won 4 gold medals for Australia. 3 of those are at the 1956 Melbourne Olympics, and she's considered one of the best female sprinters ever. Another famous athlete you might have heard of is Kathy Freeman. She won the 400 metre gold medal at the Sydney Olympics, which is regarded as the race that stopped the nation. If you haven't seen it yet, look it up on YouTube and you will probably get goosebumps watching that footage. Alright, so today we're going to learn how to get better at running. Alright, so some important things. Our body needs to be in control when we run. Alright, you've had some lessons with us before where we're a little bit silly. We might wiggle our arms around or shake our head or run with really stiff legs. But we want to make sure we're not doing any of that today. First thing I want us to learn about is the part of our foot that we run on. It's called the ball of your foot. So it's about here. We don't want to be up on our tiptoes or on our heels. We want to have our weight on the ball of our feet. Next thing, when we run, we need to have high knees. So it means that when we're running, we're really getting a good leg lift and we're not just running like this. All right, next thing, my arm needs to be in the shape of an L. All right, and we need to swing our arms when we run. All right, now I've got a little saying for you boys and girls. It's called hip to lip. When I do hip to lip, it means I run from one hip up to my lip and then I bring it back. Okay? All right, we're nearly there. Next thing, when we run, we want to have opposite arm to opposite leg. So when you're starting, you can see I've got a starting line here. I need to have my foot just behind the line. And if I've got my left foot forward, I want my right arm forward. And my eyes are straight down the track, and we say eyes on the prize. Okay, so I want you to have a little checklist to make sure that when you're having your race, you're ticking all these things off. Today we're going to practice running, and I'm going to probably run about 50 metres today because we're at a lovely athletics track. But if you're in your backyard, maybe you're only going to run 10 metres, but whatever it is, you need to write down your best time and then try to beat it. Alright, now I was in a starting position before at the start of this video called a crouch start, but for today we're going to try to do what we call a standing start. Now Hayden, can you please give me a ready, set, go?
Right, on your marks, get set, go. Nice, Rob. Up nice and straight, got those arms pumping, opposite arm to opposite leg.
Alrighty. Now, did I have high knees? I
Yep,
think so.
definitely.
Were my arms in an L shape?
They sure were.
Was I in opposite arm and opposite leg?
Yep,
And did I run with my eyes on the prize?
you sure did. And your body was up nice and straight and upright as well.
Well, that's good. Now, that's my checklist. Tick, tick, tick. All right, and then we're going to try maybe 5 times to see if we can improve on our personal best. Write it down in your book. I didn't actually time that one. Should we try and time this one, Hayden?
Yeah, sure. Let's do one more.
One more.
Okay. On your marks, get set, go. All right, so that took Rob about 6 or 7 seconds, that one. So if he was to go again, he'd try and see if he can beat 6 or 7 seconds, just like you guys can do at home in whatever area you have. But like Rob said, you need to make sure that you're running the same distance each time so that it's similar for your measurements.
Alrighty, good luck with that one. I finished my 5 sprints. I had a little bit of progression each time, which is great. And I had my little checklist that I ticked off. Remember, high knees, L-shaped arms, opposite arm, opposite leg, running on the ball of my foot, and eyes on the prize. Whew. Hard work, now it's time for a drink. Go Australia. Now I'm going to pass this baton on to Hayden.
Thanks, Rob. I won't be needing this today though, because I am going to be teaching you some volleyball today. Now, did you know that there's two types of volleyball in the Olympic Games? There's indoor volleyball and beach volleyball played on the sand. And Australia in 2000 was actually the first Olympic Games where beach volleyball was included as a sport. And we were actually very lucky. Two ladies who represented Australia actually won the gold, which was pretty amazing. Now, as you can see, I'm using a jelly ball for today's activities, but you can use any type of soft ball, even a balloon if that's all you have. You just don't want to use something too hard like a soccer ball or a basketball, because it'll hurt your hands and it's not as bouncy. So in volleyball, there's three types of ways you can hit the ball. There's a dig, a set, and a spike is when you knock it over the net. But we're going to be focusing on the dig and the set today. So with your dig, actually to begin with, before we do that, let's just get our hand-eye coordination going and warmed up. So I just want you to practice on your own, just do a couple of gentle throws up and down, keeping your eye on the ball, okay? Once you've done that a little bit, I'm going to set you a challenge. However old you are, I want you to throw the ball in the air and do that many claps that your age is. So if you're 5, for example, you're going to throw the ball nice and high and do 5 claps before you catch it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're 6, you do 6 catches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, the older you are, it means you're going to have to throw it even higher to give you more time to clap. Once you've done your age, see the best you can get and keep trying to beat it. All right, let's do a couple of round the bodies just to get those hands ready for our volleyball skills. Around the world, let's do some figure 8s through our legs. Get those legs ready, reverse it, go back the other way. And then see how fast you can go without dropping the ball. That's the way. All right, we're ready for our dig, which we're going to practice first. Now with your dig, you need to cup your hands like this, so they're together, and you're actually going to be hitting the ball just on your wrist here, just above your hands, all right? And you're going to do it nice and gentle, all right? So if I do a little throw and I do a dig, I go like this. Up to myself and catch. Up to myself and catch. Try and do it nice and soft so that it lands straight back in front of you. Once you've done one, try for 2 digs in a row. 1, 2, and catch. Go for 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, notice how the ball doesn't always go perfectly straight. I had to move backwards a little bit. Or maybe it might go in front and I need to move in front of me. But try and get it as close to your body as you can. Okay, our next one we're going to practice is called the set. Now, the set is when we set it up for someone else to spike it over the net. So with our set, if the ball's coming high, you're going to put your hands together like this, interlock your thumbs, and a set, we slightly bend our knees and we're pushing at the ball. But we're not pushing it like that, it's a very gentle push. I'll show you what I mean. So if the ball's coming down, I step up and set it. Nice and gentle. 2 sets. 1, 2. Notice how I'm using my knees to help me get low so that I can come up when I'm setting. All right, if I've got straight knees and I set it, it's going to be harder to use soft hands. All right, see how many sets you can get in a row. Then, once you've done your dig and your set, I want you to alternate, which means switching from a dig to a set. So let's start with a dig, then a set. So, dig, set, catch. Dig, set, catch. Now try for 2 digs, 2 sets. Dig, dig, set, set. All right, now try for 1 of each. So dig, set, set. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, try and hit the ball up a little bit higher because it involves more control. Thank you for that today, boys and girls. I'm going to hand over to Wes now.
Thanks, Hayden, but I don't actually need this ball. I need a soccer ball. All right, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going through some soccer skills. But first of all, some facts. In the Olympics, men and women do compete in the sport of soccer. We have the women's team, which are called the Matildas, and we have the men's team that are called the Olyroos. The Olyroos can only have players 23 years or younger. Sometimes they're allowed 3 or more that are allowed to compete in their side. The Matildas are opens, so to all age groups. We're going to go through 3 skills And then we're going to have a little challenge at the end, a juggling challenge, to see how many juggles you can do. The first skill we're going to go through is something called toe taps. Now you might find an area in your room if you're inside, or if you're outside, doesn't matter. You don't need a large area. I've set up a little square here with bean bags. I'm just going to do my skills inside this area. The first skill we're going to do for toe taps, we're going to move the ball between our toes. Okay, so I want you to think of a pinball machine where the levers go like this. That's how we're going to move the ball. So I'm going to start with my right foot, move the ball to my left, and then to my right. Nice and easy. Right to left, left to right. I want to see if you can do it a little bit quicker now and still keep the ball controlled between your feet. See if you can do that. You might do a little challenge to see how many you can do, just on the spot. When you get confident at that, I want to see if you can go in different directions. You might be able to do your toe taps moving to the left, then come back to the middle and move to the right, and then come back to the middle and go up and then back. I'm going to see if I can go side to side first. So I'm going to do my toe taps, see if I can move it to the left, my left. Now I'm going to see if I can move it back to the middle and go to my right. See if you can do it quicker both ways, both sides, keeping it under control. Remember, when we want to stop the ball, we want to stop the ball with the sole of our foot. We don't want to use our hands because we don't use hands in soccer. We want to keep the ball trapped with the sole of our foot. All right, let's see if I can go back and forth now. Nice and easy, back and forth, back and forth. All right, very good. If you think you've mastered sole taps, we're now going to move on to, toe taps, we're now going to move on to our sole taps. Now, just then we were using our toes. We're now going to use our sole of our foot. So just like I showed you before, when we stop the ball, we're going to move the ball with the underneath of our feet. So, it's like we're just stepping on the ball nice and slow first. And then you might like to speed it up. Keeping the ball nice and still. Then we're going to see if you can move it. So just like we did before, when we moved it from side to side with our toes and back and forth, we're going to see if we can do the same thing, but with our sole. So, to my left, to my right, see if we can go forward, backwards. You might even be able to do 360.
Oh, nice, Wes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go around my square and I'm going to use my dribbling skills, my toe taps and sole taps around the square. So I can use my toes and the soles of my feet to go around. Let's see if I can do it. Drive the ball around. You can even use it outside of your foot as well. Like a degree.
Outside of your foot helps sometimes when changing direction. If you need to change quickly, you might need to use the outside of your foot.
All right. Last little bit of this lesson, this session, I'm going to set you a challenge of 5 juggles. Now, you might start with the ball in your hands and try and do 1. Then let's see if you can do 2. See if you can do 3. Whoop. See if you can do 4. I want to see now if you can do it without the ball in your hand. So let's see if you can get it up. 5. I want to see if you can beat that score of 5. You can start with the ball in your hand or on the ground. All right, Tim, I'm passing it over to you.
Thanks, Wes. Okay, our next event we're going to focus on is the Rugby Sevens. So did you know that the Rugby Sevens began the last Olympics in Rio in 2016? And fun fact, the Australian women's team, they won the gold medal at the very first Rugby Sevens event. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to focus on some ball handling and passing skills to make you just as good as Maurice Longbottom and Charlotte Castle, who represent us in Rugby 7. We're going to start with tippy tappy, okay? So great way to warm up our hands. Now with each exercise, preferably if you have a oval shaped ball, like a rugby ball like this to use. If not, any old ball will do. And we're going to go for about 30 seconds with our challenge, okay? So I'm going to give you the activity and you're going to try and do it as many times as you can in 30 seconds. First one, tippy taps. Now when you're doing tippy taps, you're going to be passing it from one hand to your other, like this, okay, controlling it, fingertip control. And go. Time's up. How did you go with your tippy taps? The next activity we're going to do is ball wrapping. So we're going to be placing the ball behind us and in front like this. We're going to see how many times we can do it in 30 seconds. Time's up. Now we're going to go the opposite way. How many times can you go the opposite way in 30 seconds? And time up. Okay, the next one we're going to do is our figure eight. So putting your feet apart, you go in between your legs and your hand meets the other. All right, 30 seconds. Go. Time's up. How did you go? The next one we got the pop pass. Now this was probably the most difficult one that I was there trying to master before, doing lots of practice. So this one, the ball starts in front of you. You're going to pop the ball up in the air, put your hands behind you and try and catch the ball. Like that, and then try and pop it back to the front. See how many times you can do that in 30 seconds. Ready? Go. "30 seconds up. How'd you go?" All right, the last one, we're going to work on our spiral pass. So it's so important that a rugby sevens player has a good spiral pass. So with our practice here, you're going to hold in one hand and shoot the ball up into the sky like a rocket, trying to make it spiral in there. So we're going to start with our one hand, throwing it up, catching it in two, and repeat for 30 seconds. Here we go. Go. "30 seconds up. How'd you go?" Okay, now with your other hand, spiral passes to the sky. 30 seconds. Ready? Go. So clearly, one hand there was a bit stronger than the other. It was going all over the place. So I need to work on that opposite hand. Thanks for joining my Rugby Sevens little skills session. Oh, wait a minute. Is that Dina over there doing some handstands? Hi, Dina.
I love doing handstands, and gymnastics is one of my favourite sports, which is also one of the oldest sports that's been in the Olympics since the 1800s. So that's the first Olympics ever. Another interesting fact is that we've got one of our eldest gymnasts who is still competing at the Olympics for the 8th time, and she's 46 years old. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do some handstands. And the best way to do that is learning it slowly, step by step. Before we do any gymnastic skills, we need to make sure that we're moving everything around you away from you. Okay, if you're in the classroom, don't do it near the desks or tables. If you're at home, move your couches if you can. Maybe get mum and dad to help you so you don't hurt yourself. So we're going to start off with our front support position. So front support are on your hands and your feet. So make sure that your shoulders are directly on top of your hands, your tummy's nice and strong, and your legs are nice and straight. We're going to hold that for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're feeling ready for the next step is to find a chair or your couch, and we're going to be putting our feet up on there, doing our front support shape. So what we're going to do is put our hands on the floor first. You're then going to put your feet up on the couch or the chair, and you're going to hold your front support for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, make sure that tummy is really strong. We don't want any saggy back, so we don't get a sore back. Okay? So again, repeat that a few times. See how long you can hold it for before we move on to the next step. The next step is to move on to our bunny hops. So that's putting your hands flat on the floor, feet together, and you're going to jump and kick your bottom. Make sure you have your arms nice and straight so you don't fall onto your head. Okay? So we're going to put our arms up to start, hands flat, feet together, jump and kick your bottom. Little steps for that is to jump a bit higher each time. Okay? So you're still doing bunny hop, but you're going to jump a bit higher. See if you can hold it for a second or two. Once you're feeling confident with your bunny hops, we're then moving on to our doggy with sore leg. So doggy with sore leg is now bringing one leg forward, and you're going to be doing a lunge. So lunging is bending your front leg. Now you can choose whichever leg you're comfortable with. We're not going straight into a handstand, we're just doing a doggy with sore leg movement, which is putting your hands flat, one leg in the air like it's the sore leg for a dog, and then you're doing a little hop on that leg. Okay? So watch again, lunging, hands flat, and little hop. Again, once you're feeling confident, we've got our next step, which is in a little half handstand shape. So one leg will be up, the other leg will be out to an L shape. Okay? So we're going to put our arms up, lunge, placing our hands again, little kick, and we're all about control with our handstands. If you're kicking straight over to the top and landing on your back, that's too much power, and it means you need to practice your steps beforehand. Okay? So watch again, lunge, hands flat, little kick, and landing on that leg again. Okay, I hope you had fun today learning about all the different sports in the Olympics, and make sure you're still watching because there's plenty more Olympics on the TV, including gymnastics to see, which is very cool. Bye!